Be jealous, punks. Be jealous, punks. No, in all seriousness, we're dealing with a little bit of debate right now with the PS5. Should you put it in vertical mode ever? Is it dangerous for it, or is it just people blowing things out of proportion and a few idiots on Twitter saying things, or people opening up their system? So what I've seen so far is that most of it is just people opening up their system, tinkering with it, and the liquid metal getting into other places. So what's going on is that your CPU for your PS5 is north of a bunch of different parts underneath of it, which is like your GPU and other things. So what's going on is you use liquid metal, or Sony did, use liquid metal to have the heat transfer between the CPU die and the heatsink itself. So when you put a heatsink onto any CPU, even your computer, there's always a little gap. That's why you use thermal paste. So when you're using the thermal paste or liquid metal transfers it better because it is conductive, which means that it can allow more heat to soak into it and then expel it. So they use it so it's the most efficient. But the problem is it is electrically conductive. So if it gets out, it will seep into other things, causing shorts and causing issues. So what people have been claiming lately on sites like Dextro.com, VentureBeat, Extreme Tech, Wallow.net, TheGamer.com, they're claiming that if the PS5 runs too hot, the liquid metal will naturally seep out and go down because of gravity, which it doesn't seem to be true based on the fact that Sony has thought of this. They have a gasket over the die to keep the liquid metal where it's at. So for it to seep past that, there has to be some conditions to cause it. Either heavy drops or people taking it apart on their own or giving it to unlicensed repair shops to do the repair. If I were to ever take mine apart, which I do never plan on doing, I would probably replace that liquid metal with like a Cryonaut Thermal Grizzly pad, because it's not like as great as, you know, liquid metal, but it doesn't have that much of a detrimental performance hit for me to risk getting the liquid metal on other parts to making it completely a brick. So we're going to take a look at a video real quick. It's not very long. I'm going to compare it to another situation we had with this console generation and people jumping to conclusions. It's one of those things where just keep your head down and don't just jump at every clickbait part that you can possibly see. There's been, every tech tuber has made a video of, oh my god, the PS5 is dead, everyone wanted it to be in vertical mode, they said it was in vertical mode, even in their pictures is in vertical mode, and they didn't test this, oh my god, it's over. We'll jump into it. So this is the video I was telling you guys about. Let's take a look and see what we can learn from it, and it's not very long, so let's jump right into it. I don't mind the upbeat music at all.
Hello everyone. We recently reported about the issue with liquid metal that could leak if you have your PS5 console in vertical position for too long time.
For too long time? That's what I'm talking about with some of the English gaffes.
It turns out that having your
right there, that's the thing I was talking about with the gasket. If you look real closely, you can see the outer gasket, and then interior gasket, you got a little rubber O-ring that's helping, which is actually sitting right up against the CPU die. Here's the liquid metal. It's right inside of there, keeping it like so it's sandwiched in between the CPU and the heatsink itself, keeping a good secure fit.
Your PS5 in vertical position.
It's even a better shot, man. Look at that rubber.
Position is not the issue by itself, but having your console in vertical position could leak liquid metal if the seal gets damaged during transport or if the cooler was moved from its position.
So damage during transport is, I'm assuming, very rare, just based on the boxes these guys come in. They're over-engineered. The foams and stuff they use to keep them where they're at is top notch. They're making sure these things aren't damaged while, you know, in shipment, and on top of that, when they ship, they rarely ship by themselves. I've only seen like pallets of them, like 10 to 20, so it's not like they're just being tossed by themselves. It's most likely being handled by like a forklift operator.
Problem is that you won't know if the seal that is holding the liquid metal damaged or not until it gets too late.
until it gets too late. See, that I don't like that logic. It's one of those things where you don't know if it's broken until it's broken. It's really a weird way of thinking, but it's one of those things where you don't know it's broken until you break it. Like if the O-ring will break if you take it apart and break the O-ring, but if the O-ring isn't broken, then don't fix it. Leave it alone. It's one of those things where it doesn't look like Sony's at fault. It looks like tinkerers and droppers are at fault.
The seal can easily get damaged during the transport or if you drop your console. Feel free to hold your console in any position you want, but be careful with how you treat it. Transporting or dropping it could cause the liquid metal to leak, even if you didn't damage any of the components. And even
Yeah, so just don't drop your main system. And there's no real moving parts in this, so I don't know what other components you would break. The fan is like the only moving part, and generally those things only break as if they're moving and then they're dropped at the same time, so basically you have to power it on and push it over.
even if you never even opened your console.
Yeah, it's not just B-roll of Sony keeping the PlayStation in vertical mode. I don't see real evidence of this being a widespread issue, but let's take a look at what we saw from previous in this generation and what was happening there. So let's jump over to that video real quick just to show another example of people jumping to conclusions. So here we have a PC tech tuber talking about the Xbox One issue that's going on at the time, basically flexing on the console peasants on how one of their systems is already bad. A lot of people bit the hook on this one as well. I'll show you. Most likely most of you guys know what it is already, what's going on, but let's take a look. I haven't muted his voice is annoying. There it is. The smoking Xbox One X. And so many tech tubers bit the hook on the smoking Xbox Ones. Like, you can just see video after video. He's gonna show a few of them. It's just so many. The same one again. It's just so many people bit it, and that's what it feels like with this one, because it's just one of those things where you're either an Xbox fan or Switch fan or PlayStation fan or PC fan. You always like to take jabs at the other instead of like just being happy with what you got and not like bow downing to a billion-dollar company that doesn't care about you at all. Still, the fanboyness doesn't make sense to me still to this day. But what was going on here was that there was kids, presumably, like I'm saying, like 21, they're like children, were blowing vape smoke into the bottom of their Xbox, which has an intake fan, and then the intake fan was taking it and blowing it through the exhaust fan at the top, so expelling where it expels the heat, and so it made it look like it was smoking when all that is actually vape smoke, which, you know, still not good for electronics because a lot of that stuff is moisture, and moisture and electronics do not mix very well. It can cause shorts and bridges and stuff. So it was pretty dumb, and this is what it feels like. It feels like another time where there's like, it happens to like 3 people. Everyone's decided it was going to be the end of this console generation's life cycle, and that it's because of a design flaw or something, but in all reality, it seems like this is coming up to someone taking their system apart, someone dropping it really hard, someone letting someone who's unauthorized to fix it, and they went back with liquid metal instead of an actual thermal paste. It's one of those things, like if you ever change a thing on your car, like a lot of times with anything with gas, it requires you to change that O-ring no matter if it looks okay, because it's damaged. If you're changing liquid metal and there's like an O-ring over it, you get that replacement part. Don't just go and like go, it looks fine to me. Look fine to me does not make any sense when it comes to something this expensive and something this hard to find. So let me jump into my other scene, and then we're gonna wrap it up. So what we learned basically is that the PS5 is not really the blame to a lot of these issues right now. So if they were, I would love to call them out. I'm not a Sony fanboy at all. My PS5 is essentially a God of War / Madden player. All my other stuff is done on my computer because it's better. And I do like it. It's a nice system. It's pretty awesome, but it's one of those things where this is not their fault. This is one of those things where just don't open your system up. Don't have some unlicensed people repair it. Don't drop it from really high to the point where when it hits the ground you go, oh, that sounds expensive. Like, just take just normal precautions when it comes to doing anything. It seems easy, but you know, what I think seems easy, it's kind of difficult for people, I guess, sometimes. But just be smart. Don't bite on every clickbait stuff that people are going to put out there, because they're going to put that out there. They're waiting for someone to bite the hook and get their channel to grow quicker or whatever. Or they're just looking for Sony to fall flat on their face because they have an Xbox, or they have a Switch, or they have a PC, and they want to own a console peasant or Sony, blah, blah, blah. So just, keep your head on straight, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.